Now, the Fox 61 Weather Watch with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank.
Hi everyone, Fox 61 Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank here on the Weather Watch. A flood watch in effect throughout the entire state. We're seeing slow-moving, locally heavy downpours and thunderstorms out there. And with all of the rain that we already saw fall off and on right through this weekend, everything is already waterlogged, so it might not take much to kind of push things over the edge. Taking a look at the future radar through this evening, again, you're noticing those kind of scattered throughout the state as we head through the evening tonight. As we're gearing up for the news at 11, things are in the process of calming down, though, and I do think it'll be a drier day overall for tomorrow, although there still could be a spotty shower and the humidity remains. Low temperatures tonight in the mid to upper 60s. Heading through the day tomorrow, it will start off cloudy in the morning. And again, there could still be an isolated shower or two out there, but mostly dry. Highs close to 80 degrees and not as wet heading into tomorrow evening. Here's a look at the future satellite and radar, again showing that we're kind of locked in with the cloud cover in the morning. We might be able to brighten things up a bit in the afternoon. This computer model is very optimistic about the second part of the day. But watch what happens on Wednesday. A front will come through, and this front is going to take the humidity along with it. So it could come along with some fireworks, showers, thunderstorms. There is even a chance for some strong, potentially severe storms with this as the front comes through. And after it clears the area, look what happens to the humidity. We go from very humid to tropical down into that comfy category after a week of feeling like the middle of summer in terms of the humidity. We're finally feeling more like September. All right, the latest on hurricane season, and we are expecting an update in shortly. Oh, it looks like it just came in. So Lee with winds of 115 miles per hour. So it's a major Category 3 hurricane. The storm is expected to maintain its intensity and then make a turn north. But here's the biggest question. It does pass to the west of Bermuda. That is becoming clearer and clearer over time. But now the question is, how close does this storm end up getting to us here in southern New England? A lot of our computer guidance is taking the storm into the Gulf of Maine or into Nova Scotia. And you can kind of see how the forecast cone starts to shift a little bit to west towards the end. So the forecast cone gives you a range of possibilities. This storm could track on the western end of the cone, and that would bring us rain and wind into Connecticut. If it's down the center, we might get some fringe effects, but likely very little. And if the storm ends up tracking on the right side of the cone, it's basically out to sea for us, and we don't get a single drop of rain. So the exact impacts are still very unclear. Here's a look at our spaghetti model. So each one of these lines represents a different computer model, but it looks like spaghetti, which is why we call it that. When they're really closely clustered, that's when we have very high confidence in the forecast, and we do over the next several days. But past that, we start to see that big spread. Again, if the storm were to track over Cape Cod, that would bring us rain and wind into Connecticut. But farther offshore, 50 by 100 miles, we're talking about less and less impact here at home. One thing is for sure, what I've done here is I've highlighted water temperature that's over 80 degrees, and that's what we need to kind of feed these tropical systems. So I do think this is going to run into some cooler water, and that will likely cause the storm to weaken in intensity and likely start to go into a transition into an extratropical storm, meaning that it'll go from a warm core to a cold core, or more like a regular nor'easter by the time it gets up into these latitudes. So the bigger concern right now is for coastal New England. That being said, I think rough surf and rip currents are going to be at Atlantic beaches as we head through the coming days up and down the East Coast, but especially in the mid-Atlantic coast up north towards Maine. So the track is off the New England coast. The question is, though, how close? The timing, the closest pass would be Saturday. So again, we still have a long time to watch this storm. And in terms of impact, it's either going to be some fringe effects for us with some rain and some wind, or it may be little or nothing. Right now, a direct hit seems unlikely. It is possible if things start to shift farther west. I don't want to say anything is impossible, but right now it does seem to be unlikely. So we'll just keep watching things as we head closer. We'll have a better handle on this every day that we get closer to this system, which is all the way here in the forecast Saturday. Taking a look at the 7-day forecast Thursday and Friday, we're looking at much more comfortable, beautiful conditions, highs in the low to mid 70s for both of those days. We're watching Lee for Saturday to see if we get any impacts there. For now, we're leaving the forecast dry, but that could change depending on the track. And your Shoreline 7-day shows we go from 80 degrees down to the mid 70s. Again, Wednesday, we'll watch that period of stormy weather as the cold front crosses, and then we're in the 70s Thursday and beyond.